Hi, everyone, and welcome. So have you ever considered what if ancient texts, ones that seem totally disconnected, actually hold a kind of hidden message, one that's really relevant to, well, right now?
It's a fascinating thought, isn't it?
It is. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a specific selection of biblical verses. We're also bringing in insights from the ancient Book of Enoch.
And we'll be using J. Barton Payne's scholarly framework to kind of tie it together.
Exactly. Our mission, really, is to unpack what Payne called their non-random content.
And see how these enduring patterns seem to resonate, maybe surprisingly, with world events from around June 27th, 2025.
So let's get into those core themes. What jumps out from these ancient sources?
Well, what's striking is the consistency.
Yeah.
You see these recurring ideas. Take Joel 1.15. It talks about the day of the Lord.
Sounds pretty serious. Overwhelming destruction.
That's the sense, yeah, total devastation. And then you have 1 Samuel 17.11. It shows a whole nation just sort of frozen in fear, paralyzed by a powerful enemy.
So these big external threats. But, threats aren't always from the outside, are they?
That's a crucial point.
Do these texts also talk about dangers from within, like internal problems?
Oh, absolutely. The Urim Thummim version, the UTV of 2 Kings 15.25 is really stark on this.
How so? How's it different?
Well, some versions just mention a change of kings,
Hmm.
but the UTV, it gets specific. It says Pekah, conspired against the king, struck him down, killed him.
Wow. So not just a power shift, but violent betrayal, treachery from inside.
Exactly. It highlights this pattern of internal rot, violent power grabs that can really destabilize things, and that connects directly to Hosea 5.5.
Okay, Hosea 5.5. What's the warning there?
It basically warns that national pride, turning away from core principles, can lead straight to a nation's collapse. Internal decay setting the stage for downfall.
So we've got external judgment, internal decay,
Mm-hmm.
but there's another layer too, isn't there? Deception.
Yes, absolutely. That's critical. You see it in the Thessalonians 2.9.
The bit about lying wonders and false signs, powered by satanic influence.
Precisely. And Colossians 2.18 warns against, vain speculation, getting carried away by ideas that sound impressive but are empty. Puffed up minds, it says.
So a warning against being easily misled by flashy things or clever arguments.
Exactly. Spiritual counterfeits. But importantly, amidst all this potential chaos and confusion, 1 Thessalonians 3.11 offers a kind of anchor.
Which is?
The need for God to direct our way. It's this reminder that even when things are confusing, there's a path to seek. Guidance is essential.
Okay, to get the bigger picture here, you mentioned the Book of Enoch. How does that fit in? The UTV of Genesis 6.4 mentions sons of the angels.
Right, and that directly links to Enoch's whole narrative. Enoch, it's an ancient text, wasn't included in most canons, but hugely influential back then.
Known for the Watchers, right? The angels who corrupted humanity.
Exactly. Enoch provides this cosmic backdrop. It details these big patterns of judgment and eventual restoration. It helps frame the specific judgments you see in the Bible as part of a larger, divinely guided plan.
So these aren't just isolated incidents, but part of a bigger story, a consistent cycle.
Precisely. It reveals a sort of framework for how divine interaction with history works. And that consistency is where J. Barton Payne's work becomes really helpful.
Right, Payne. Tell us about his approach. How does his scholarship help connect these dots?
Payne developed this really rigorous, systematic method. It's almost forensic. He tried to identify every likely point where a prophecy might have seen fulfillment in history.
So mapping prophecy to history.
In a way, yes. His approach helps confirm that these verses, even from different books and times, aren't just random. They form a deliberate, interconnected message. His work shows a unified prophetic voice, really.
Okay, so let's bring this forward. How might these ancient themes resonate with the world around June 27th, 2025? And, crucially, we need to stress this point.
Yes, very important.
We're talking thematic parallels here, echoes. Not saying these specific events are the fulfillment, but that the texts give us a lens to understand recurring patterns.
Absolutely. Look at the geopolitical scene. Reports of, say, deadly attacks on aid sites in Gaza or rising fears of an Israel-Iran conflict. That resonates with Joel's Day of the Lord, that sense of overwhelming crisis.
And the national paralysis from 1 Samuel?
You could maybe see echoes in the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine or other major conflicts where nations feel besieged or stuck, even internal political friction.
Like what?
Well, things reported like U.S. vetoes blocking actions at the UN, or maybe setbacks for political initiatives like President Trump's Big Beautiful Bill due to parliamentary procedures, these kinds of things reflect that internal fragmentation, that treachery theme from 2 Kings.
And it's not just politics, is it? What about society more broadly? We see things like, record stock highs, crypto bouncing back, SpaceX launching Starlink satellites. Lots of focus on progress and wealth.
Right. And while those things aren't bad in themselves, this constant focus on the material, the technological, the immediate gain, well, it can create an environment that maybe resonates with those warnings about lying wonders and vain speculation.
Oh, so.
Because a heavy focus on material success and impressive tech might, perhaps, subtly dull our discernment, make populations maybe more susceptible to narratives that look good on the surface but lack substance, or promise easy fixes.
It makes you think about where our focus really lies.
It certainly challenges us to look deeper.
So this deep dive seems to confirm there's a really rich, definitely non-random message woven through these forces. A consistent story about history, divine action, and, well, destiny.
And that means these ancient texts aren't just historical documents. They offer frameworks, ways to understand the challenges, the spiritual dynamics that keep cropping up in our world, even today.
So the final thought for you listening. In an age absolutely overloaded with information, with subtle and not so subtle deceptions all around, how do these ancient insights challenge you, personally, to sharpen your discernment? And maybe more importantly, what path will you seek to be directed by?